episode 281. Stormtroopers in the ground.
All right, everyone, shut the fuck up.
Wheel of Time. Reread a podcast. Explicit and R freaking rated. Jono's the wild card, always talking shit. Joe's the straight man. He's a total dick. Tom calls in if he's not too busy. We are tWoTcast!
I'm Jono, and with me as always is Joe.
Oh, hey, Jono. Hey, man.
More than often enough to probably not be ridiculed about it, but we fucking will. Tom.
Steady math. That was a good riff on what we normally say, Jono. That was good. I liked it.
That's called improvisation. There's 2 Z's in there, in which I write something different than what it. Which I say something different than what's written here.
You should give up. Give up on the bit. Did you say that you're listening to the tWoTcast part?
No.
That's some improvisation right there. I just realized I got introduced. I was like, he didn't say Dragon Reborn, did he?
You're listening to tWoTcast, We Will Time Reread podcast. Now covering Robert Jordan's We Will Time Book 3, The Dragon Reborn. I've already hit the next line. Fuck it.
And also, Margaret Wise from DragonLance fame is going to be here, Jono, I think is what you're going to say.
I've already hit that.
Yes, doing an interview with us and Jenn from Nerd Grits.
Nerd Grits, which by the way is GNERDGRITS.
GNRDGRTS.
I'm gonna make a handle that's just that.
I'm honestly pretty sure her podcast is named Nerd Grits.
Nerd Girls. There's an A between the G and the R.
And their catchphrase, it's great.
It's Gaeta. Jono, a long time ago, our stepfather texted us the word "get great," but he tried to use the number 8 in the text, and he just put G8T.
It's gate.
Instead of GR8.
It's gate.
So we've never let that go.
He's hipping with it. All right, without further ado.
Yeah.
Without further ado, we have the amazing Margaret Wise, to whom we are, as always, very, very appreciative of and very, very thankful for. And I'm very excited for what has actually happened. We won't talk about it, but the fact is, we won't talk about it on the thing, but the lawsuit is over between them and Wizards of the Coast, being Margaret Wise and Tracy Hickman, and a new batch of original DragonLance books are coming out, and that is.
And she couldn't talk about either of those things, so don't get excited.
And we can't say much more about it. She threatened me with legal action twice during the interview.
So we are bringing you exclusive, amazing content that you probably didn't want to know about, and that is too fucking bad for you. You wanted to know the other stuff. Also, probably.
Know what I found mildly amusing from this is that this time we interviewed her, and now we're recording the intro. But last time we recorded the intro and then called her. So it's a very different feeling. Like, we've already interviewed her. So like, I know the interview went well, but last time I was like, let's hope this goes well. Like, kind of thing. Like, it's very different feeling I'm having right now. Anyway, interview starts now. Right, guys?
Right now.
All right. Is everybody here now?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm here.
All right, everybody made it.
Yay!
I can't believe it.
Yay! I'm so very excited.
It was it's like, what is that noise? That was a very contained excitement. It was very interesting for me. So anyway, hi Margaret, how are you?
Hi, I'm good.
This is Joe's voice, if you don't recall, and Jono. And we have our friend Jenn from the Nerd Crits podcast here as well.
Cool.
Huge fan, and so many others are. I am a very huge fan. Thank you, tWoTcast, for having me on. And the reason why I'm here is I'm just a very, very big DragonLance fan. I met Tracy at Dragon Con a couple years ago before COVID was a thing. And just been reading the books for years, I think most of us have. So since they knew I was such a big fan, they were very kind enough to invite me on their kind of interview with you to maybe ask you some questions. Hey, my name is Jenn. I'm a big fantasy fan. We've never, quote unquote, met at con before or anything. So I'm slightly nervous and excited, and thank you so much for coming on. This is awesome. This is amazing.
Well, thank you for asking me. Oh,
Margaret, you have to know that you are the epitome of kindness to say, thank you for asking me. When every time that we see that there's an email or a direct message from you, like it's instantly, because Tom's been the point of contact, like, Tom, Margaret Wise, respond now. So thank you for being on. It's a genuine delight, and also just a genuine, nerd kind of, just real excited about it.
Oh, well, thank you.
Well, Joe, are you ready? I know that you're...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we don't want to take up too much of your time, Margaret. We got 30 minutes, and that is more than enough.
I'll just get this one question out of the way so Jenn can go crazy, I think. But so last time we had you on, Margaret, I mentioned that we had talked to Larry Elmore in length at one of the JordanCon conventions a long time ago. We had him on as a guest of honor. We talked to Larry for a while, and one of the things that he mentioned that I wanted to ask you about last time, and I completely forgot because we got off on so many wonderful Larry Elmore tangents, was the weird web series that you guys did where he was dressed in a loincloth running through the woods. There's like a random picture of him online.
Oh my gosh.
I just wanted to know if you had any stories from that, or what was your wardrobe like? Were you half naked running through the woods? I'm interested.
No, I was, I think, a witch. I think my costume is actually on Facebook somewhere. Yeah, that was Ken Whitman put that together, and we were at Doe Run in Kentucky, which is one of my very favorite places in all the world. And we just, it was just so much fun. I had all these lines I was supposed to memorize, and I was horrible. And Ken had to keep stopping and feeding me my lines. And finally I said, just write them on the top, across your forehead. And I could read them.
Across your forehead.
Thank God I didn't have to run through the woods.
Is this man's forehead the size of a cue card?
Yes.
Didn't anybody suggest a cue card?
But the food was absolutely wonderful. I mean, Doe Run, and it was homemade chicken and homemade pies and biscuits, and I mean, it was such a great time. So much. We had I don't know whether we were there several times, but we had a bourbon tasting contest that a blindfold bourbon tasting contest that Larry and I were involved in.
Awesome.
He might have mentioned.
Are you a bourbon fan, or just? Outstanding. What are some recommendations you've got for COVID? Because all I've been drinking is bourbon.
I like. Okay, now I forgot it. Double Oak. Is it Maker's Mark? Double Oak? I can't remember. Anyway, Double Oak.
I think not being able to remember is a good sign of a bourbon fan.
Yeah. Well, it's very expensive, so I don't get it a lot.
We'll be on the lookout for Double Oak, and then can't remember.
Double Oak. Sounds perfect. It might be Woodford.
Okay.
It's one of those, but it's the Double Oak, and that means, it's been, well, never mind.
Well, I guess before we start diving into Jenn's questions, we wanted to have you on because we were excited that the lawsuit got wrapped up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God!
So I reached out to you for that, and then basically you said, "Well, I can't talk about that for legal reasons," which makes a lot of sense. And then we wanted to talk about the books, and you said, obviously, "Well, I can't talk about that because they're not coming out yet." So we're not doing any of that, just in case anybody's wondering.
Yeah.
Really gonna let Jen ask some questions she's very excited about.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I've actually interacted with you on social media. Thank you so much for interacting with all of your fans. You're very good at interacting with anyone that reaches out to you on social media, which is amazing. I wish more authors would do that. So that's awesome. That's kind of the reason why I'm on, is because I'm just DragonLance, I think it's influenced so many people, and I'm one of them. So when you come on, and if it's okay for comment with it, I'm just going to ask you stuff kind of about, you've been in the game for so long, and you've helped so many people. So I've got a couple of burning questions I'd like to ask you. But it's fun. It's good things you can talk about, I believe.
Okay.
So,
all right.
I'll be. My name is Jenn. Nice to meet you, Margaret. So
nice to meet you.
I have some fun questions. So, okay, first one. What are things that inspire you to write? My first question, I'm going to go easy on you. Or conversely, if this helps, if you have a writer's block, is there anything that you find that helped you? So for any listeners that are kind of trying to write their own book, or maybe a bleed over audience there, you've probably just asked at conventions before. Is there anything that helps you find inspiration if you have writer's block or
writer's block? Writer's block, I think, is different for every writer. I can always write. I mean, I've been a storyteller since I was too little to either read or write. My teacher used to put me in front of the kindergarten class, and I'd tell stories while they were having nap time. And just writing was an extension of storytelling. It was my major in college in the 60s. And I worked for 10 years writing and sending stuff out and getting it rejected and keep writing. And, so I could always write. Writer's block for me is when I know the story isn't doing what I want it to do. The characters are not behaving like I want them to behave, and it's just not going well. Even though I'm writing like every day, it's still not going well. So what I do at that point is I stop and I go back to where it all veered off track, and I throw out everything I did from that point on. Just chapters gone, cut. And I start again, and that usually cures it.
I thought for sure you were going to say bourbon.
I've never heard that before. That's interesting. So instead of building upon something, you actually cut some chaff and start over from a more grounded approach. That's very interesting. I've not heard that before from an author. So I didn't know that obviously that way. So that's kind of cool. Okay, going on to my next question. Thank you for that. Anyway, I'm going to talk about that later. I'm going to noodle in my head about that. Anyway, my next question is, do you find it hard to read like what you've written a long time ago after the fact? Because I know you've been writing for a long time, so I'm very curious for established authors to ask this question, like some of the first writings that you did, like, I don't know how far back in your mind you want to go to answer this question, but like, do you find it hard as you become more experienced over the years to revisit stuff from like your early writing ages? Like, is that? Do you ever go back to that, or
no? I don't. I try not to ever read anything I've written.
What about the transcriptions from story time at kindergarten?
The one thing I remember from that is I retold the story of Treasure Island. Because I had seen it on Disney and I hadn't seen the last part, so I made it my own ending. But anyway, no, I don't go back and read anything I've written unless I am absolutely forced to. And that's mainly because I want to change it. I mean, as a writer, I would like to constantly rewrite. I remember, I think it was Thomas Wolfe, that his editor, he was such a rewriter that his editor used to have to come over and physically take the book out of his hands
Wow.
in order to meet the publishing deadline, because, and even then they said Wolf would run down the street going, no, it's not done, So that's kind of how I am. I would just keep rewriting.
But you have more
I even
self-control.
I offered at one point to completely rewrite Dragons of Autumn Twilight because there was so much.
When was that?
That was several years ago. WotC wasn't keen on the idea, but there was so much because we had to cut so much out of that book because TSR at the time only wanted it to be, I think, X number of pages long so they could sell it for a really cheap price. And we were way over the word count. And so my editor, Jean Black, had to just go in and slash out. And then she told me to do it. She said, you go in and you cut like 6 paragraphs have to come out of this chapter and 6 out of this chapter. And we did. We had no choice or it wasn't going to get published. So I would like to go in and complete, and add back in everything we had to cut. But
has there ever been an option for like an author's preferred edition?
That would be. Well, Stephen King did that.
Exactly.
I think he.
That'd be fascinating.
I would buy that in 5 seconds.
I would too.
I don't think there's anyone that's read DragonLance that wouldn't want that.
Do you need to revisit your DragonLance writings when you're writing the new books, or do you just remember anything that came before?
Answer that.
Understandable.
I can.
Well, Margaret,
I can
in
say
that sense, like I think Tom means like to revisit the characters, not necessarily like to give us any clue as to what you're writing about.
I have a dear friend, Shivan Bhatt, who is my Astinus. And if I ever need any DragonLance question answered, I go to Shivam and I say, Shivam, can you help me with this? And he does the research and gets back to me, and he's been awesome.
Oh,
I will be trying to slide in spoiler questions like as we go to see if we can
I know.
Actually,
you know what? Hearing from my attorney.
They'll never find me.
It's kind of interesting that you said that because I'm going to skip. I'm going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I only have 8 questions I've written down. But this is actually, I have to skip ahead because Margaret, you unknowingly kind of already answered one of my future questions of the 8 that I was going to ask you. The question I had later on, I guess I'm going to skip ahead here. Is there any scene from the old book that cut that you would have liked to have made the cut? And I wasn't sure if this was up to par with something you could or could not speak about due to legal issues, but I thought, well, since it never made the cut and it can't be published again, if you can't answer, I completely understand, but that was kind of a gray area. Is that something that maybe you could answer about something that you can think offhand that you had wanted to write for the original books or already did but had to cut? Or is that an off-topic question? If that is, that's totally fine.
The original, like in Dragons of Autumn Twilight, something that was cut.
Or something,
it was
one of the original 3.
That was the original 3. Autumn Twilight, yeah. Mm-hmm. It was, there was so much that was cut out. Like, for example, Sturm. Why was he wearing his armor? I mean, most of the time you see knights that don't go around wearing their armor all the time. Mm-hmm. And there was this thing about how he was doing it as a penance and I got that from, I think it was Richard III, who wore his armor even while he was sleeping on the battlefield, because the pain and the discomfort, he was doing it as a penance, And Sturm was kind of the same way. We don't know what he's doing it for at that time, but we learn later why he was doing that.
So that makes sense. It's also a punishment for everyone else because you're probably going to smell awful. And Joe and I had the same conversation earlier about armor in general, and I would definitely, if I were Sturm, I would wear kind of a larger iron codpiece to kind of so embellish my strength. So you don't want to take that armor off and kind of let everyone know what you got.
Yeah, it's like wearing lifts in your shoes. You can't appear smaller later, so you just got to keep that armor codpiece on at all times.
Well, that's interesting. I like the historical cut to Richard III. That's actually really cool. Thank you for that. Okay. My next question, I kind of got this inspiration from something. I know I mentioned social media just a little while ago, and I'm going to kind of touch on that. So based on what we got, I believe it was today, that we know that, actors are now enjoying, what we've written in the past. Like, I know that Joe Manganiello, like he's actually referencing you and DragonLance for what he's doing in his D&D series now. And it's not just him, but a lot of actors too are taking a lot of respectful, like, not appropriation, obviously. They're respecting you, and they're saying, "Oh my gosh, it's because of you that I've gotten involved in D&D. We're bringing a new audience into this game." Like, how does it feel to have really respected Hollywood actors and stuff pay homage to what you've done and stuff like that? Even in popular culture today, I mean, DragonLance is still something that's in conversation and stuff like that. It has to be wild. Like, what's that like?
Oh, that's just unbelievable. I mean, we wrote DragonLance in 1984, and and we were just hoping to get the first book published. That's all we cared about, because TSR was teetering on the verge of bankruptcy, and to realize that it has touched so many lives. I mean, not just actors, but just so many lives. We get stories, we hear stories all the time. I mean, one guy came up to us at Gen Con, and he was this great big guy, and he threw his arms around Tracy, and he said, you kept me from committing suicide. And, and I mean, it's just things like that, we just couldn't believe it. We couldn't have believed it that many years ago. We knew we had a good story to tell. And that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to tell our story.
Yeah, you've touched me that's why, podcast is kind enough to even be on here. It's just, even speaking to you is, thank you guys so much. Like, I'm literally, I have not had those thoughts of thought, but I have, you've really, really helped create the person I am today, and I am actually one of those people that you've helped for a long time. So thank you. Anyway, I'm going to continue with my question.
It's amazing, Jen. Just so you know, we actually got a Margaret Wise impersonator on this show.
Yeah, this is actually even her.
So my next question is, because I have your animated chronicles, so I get to read kind of all of you about certain characters doing certain situations. And my next question to you is: do you enjoy D&D board game still? Like, actually, do you still play the game? And if you do, do you play the new 5e rules, or do you play like how you used to play years ago? Because I know that you had to kind of role play characters doing certain scenes at the beginning. I don't know if you still use that anymore. Something you use for stories, or if
we didn't role play the game. Only one character ever came out of role playing, and that was Bapu. We were too busy writing and working at the time to role play.
Oh, okay.
I think we only.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, I think the only time I remember we had one role playing session, and I think it was at Tracy's house. Mm-hmm. And he was the dungeon master, and Raceland, who was played by Terry Phillips, cast a charm spell on this gully board, Bapu, and she fell in love with him, and that's where that came from. We incorporated that into the books.
I remember that.
But I still do role play at GaryCon every year. When they have GaryCon, they didn't have it this year or next year. But when they have GaryCon, that's the one time I get to role play with my friends, and we play Firefly.
Is GaryCon officially canceled this year?
Yeah, from what I understand. It's going to be, it's going to be virtual. They're going to do it virtually again, but so that's this friend of ours, Daniel Goes, runs the Firefly game, and my friends and I always play Jane because I like to shoot stuff. And
that's awesome. Yeah.
Margaret, I've got to say, I've been saying buku for 36 years.
Me too. Me too. Me too.
It's like
I'm guilty.
It's a made-up word. It's a made-up word. It just changed my life. You can pronounce it any way you want.
Okay, good. I'm glad that you brought that up because that was kind of I was gonna segue into that as kind of an offshoot thing because I do also say and I have been teased before about my pronunciation of characters. I was going to ask how you feel about that. These characters you created, and when you meet people, they pronounce it differently than you do. If that's you can kind of have like a jarring moment, like do you have that feeling or like I don't know?
No, like I say, they were pretty much made up. So. I mean, Karaman stood for caring man, and Raceland stood for wasted man. So those were pretty much the only two. And the rest are easy to pronounce. Piston Danalis used to drive me crazy because it took ever to type that name.
You just write an uppercase F, and then you just find a replace later.
They didn't have that option back then, Joe.
No.
On that note, real quick, because you mentioned Autumn Twilight having like a lot of extra content that was cut out because you were trying to meet like a certain page count. Is that true for the following novels, or is that like you had more of like a clue as to like, I can't write endlessly, they're gonna make me chop it all out, so why would I write a bunch of extra stuff? Or is there
by the time when Autumn Twilight hit the bestseller list, TSR was like, whoa, we want more of these.
Oh, okay, yeah, gotcha.
So you don't have to censor yourself, yeah.
Yes, exactly. Well, we don't have to chop out half the book so we can sell it for $2.95.
Gotcha.
So Winter Night and Spring Bunning, we were pretty good to go on those, but our only problem was they wanted all 3 books to come out the same year. So we had a 3-month deadline to write each book. Now tell an author, tell an author these days they've got 3 months to write a book, but we did. And we were writing at nights and on the weekends because both of us had our day job. I was a book editor.
Last time I didn't know it was for the other 2 books though too. That's crazy.
Yeah, and that's what we had to do. We had to meet that deadline. So we did.
I think there's only one more question. I think I mentioned 30 minutes, so I think I'm going to be able to have you up at a decent when you leave. But my last question, I believe, for you is and I think I know the answer because I want to be smug, but I'm going to let you. Do you feel any special connection to a character you have written? It's a nice, easy, soft question.
Raceland, of course.
Yeah, that's right. And my partner said, please say Raceland because he's my favorite. And I love the fact that you say Raceland because I mentioned earlier I got teased about pronunciation. I've been teased about Raceland, so I'm so glad you said that. I feel better now about saying Raceland. So I fell in love with the books. Real quick, and I could probably hear stories about people all the time, but I just wanted to let you know that I actually remember when I was 12 years old picking up Dragons of Autumn Twilight for the very first time, and where I was and why I picked it up. When I met Tracy, he said a story about Larry Elmore and how he was letting the entire convention panel know that one of the reasons why he was chosen is because he drew Gold Moon correctly, when furs and not like in an overly graphically sexual manner, but she was portrayed as a plainswoman, which was so that he was telling the panel the story, and I thought that was an awesome story. And when I was young, and my I had to, every other weekend, my parents were divorced, so my dad lived across the state, and he's like, to keep the kids from moving around the back seat, you guys just pick a book. Mm-hmm. So I was at a bookstore, and I saw this picture. It was Larimer Elmer's drawing of Gold Moon, and she was blonde like me, and she was in a fantasy book, which I love fantasy at the time. I was just getting into it, and she was good for a young girl to pick up. Mm-hmm. She wasn't overly graphically, like, and so I was like 12, like, you know. Yeah. So I was like, I didn't feel intimidated, but it had a dragon and it had a battle that was like an adventure, but she wasn't like overly graphically portrayed. And I was like, oh, this is good. And I remember like reading the first couple of paragraphs about just Flint kind of looking at his home and stuff in the very beginning and the back seat of that car. And it was just in love the rest of the way. So thank you so much. Yeah, I just wanted to explain that. And then I really thank you so much for coming on to tWoTcast. And podcast again, thank you so much for having me on Ask Margaret. This is a dream come true. Thank you.
Well, Margaret, I know you have to walk your dogs in, is it -1 right now?
No, dogs. I'm not walking the dogs tonight. No, they're going out the back door and coming in.
Let them get cold, Tom.
Yes.
I know I'm sure you saw it on Twitter because a lot of people got very excited about it. So we have to ask you the last question. Does Raceland have a gold penis?
I'm not going there.
We're never going to get an official answer to this question.
No. Some things are better left to the imagination.
I can tell you the answer is yes to that imagination.
Yeah, I think I have the answer. Yeah.
Yeah, we got the
yeah. If we're polling the room,
once again, you will hear from my attorney.
This is now a defamation lawsuit.
Well, you're defaming Raceland.
The idea that somebody would have to listen to this for like discovery of a lawsuit is amazing.
Honestly, if I got sued by Raceland, it would be the greatest thing that ever happened in my life. I wouldn't even know what to do with it.
I think you just fireball you and say, it's a lot cheaper than paying lawyers.
Well, you lost that.
Yeah, I know we're about to let you go, so I just wanted to say thank you again as well, Margaret.
Thank you so much.
And be sure and send me a link so I can post this.
Of course, yeah. We'll DM you on Twitter.
And then when you can talk a little bit about the books, we'll of course would love to have you back.
Absolutely, I will be glad to do so.
All right, thank you, Margaret.
Okay, thank you, Jenn. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
I'm so excited. Like she said, thank you, Jenn. That made me happy. Thank you guys so much. You guys made that available for me. Yay. I thank you so much. Like, thank you. Huh?
You know we weren't recording that, right?
That's fine. I didn't know if you did it. She still got to talk to me. I don't even care.
I don't think she cares, Jono.
It's just a phone call. We don't have a podcast. There's nothing like that.
That's totally fine. That is even itself the greatest thing. Thank you guys.
In all honesty, when Jenny said we didn't record that, I looked down at the recorder and was like, wait a minute, did I?
Joe has been asking me every hour, on the hour, if my dick is hourglass shaped because he's got some weird kind of angiotensin.
Well, I was asking if you were turning it over on the hour. That's the point.
Yeah.
Oh,
I thought you were just getting a lot of blood to your penis head, Joe, and it was kind of hourglass shaped. Well, again, Jenn, thank you so much. Like you did great questions, and it was great.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. You made my night. You guys have a good night, okay? Like, literally, I've been forever and ever for that. That's all.
I love the literally, you're like, literally have a great night. Like I said, like most.
So now you can tweet about it and be like, this happened, it's a thing, yay!
I will gas you guys up so much. You guys have no idea.
All right, well,
thank you.
Have a good night. I'll talk to you later.
See you later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Spoiler warning. So this is our episode covering the Dragon Reborn. Am I missing something?
I should probably have some kind of lead outs. All right, that was great. The interview was fantastic, and I loved it. I don't know about you guys. I had a great time.
I did have fun, and also thanks again. We kind of said thanks in the recording, but I don't know what part of that is going to make it onto the show. So thanks again to Jenn from Nerd Grits for jumping on and asking a bunch of questions, because she was wildly excited.
Yeah,
it was helpful.
And now we'll move on to the content everybody's actually here for: dick jokes about fantasy.
I guess that there's a valid point to make a little more context around the fact that, like, what happened was, like, as soon as she said, like, I'd love to be on the show, we're like, well, I've got 1,000 questions. And then, of course,
she's like, I can't answer any of them.
You're like, all right, well, fuck. And then we were like, well, I know that we've got at least someone in our Rolodex of thousands upon thousands of fans and friends, thousands upon thousands. And it was a raffle. There were about 400 options.
No, it wasn't.
And that's what it came from, the ball and crank. It'd be a euphemism.
I thought it was pretty fun that she said she'd come back on when she can talk about the books, though. That's exciting news.
Yeah,
I'm excited for that eventual conversation.
Yeah, I think we can bring her on pre-release, maybe. Or maybe she'll threaten to sue us again if we ask questions. Maybe we'll bring her on. Yeah. We'll bring her on after the book comes out.
If the second a new book comes out, we'll be like, all right, hop on the show and let's talk about that book.
No.
I'm pretty sure
you can finally answer a question.
Now that they've just settled one lawsuit, I'm pretty sure her attorney is going to go back and just give her some counsel that says, hey, don't do that show either.
Never be on that show again. What were you thinking?
Did you read their name? Did you listen to their podcast?
She apparently doesn't mind in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
But
all right.
We love her so much, and thank you. And also,
thanks, Margaret, for being on.
Yeah. All right. So, spoiler warning. This is our episode covering the Dragon Reborn, written by Robert Jordan, chapters 8 through 11. And
chapter 8 is called Jara. Tom,
is a Wolfgar point of view.
All right. I wrote chapter 8, some weddings, a frogman, and a wolf boy.
Ah, all right.
That's pretty much it. That covers it.
This is the beginning of, not the beginning of, but so I think we talked about it last time, and odds are pretty high that I reiterate and ramble that Jordan was kind of thinking this would be now a 7-book series as opposed to a trilogy.
Yeah.
And kind of needed that ramp up in his mind of Ta'Veren effect, Rand kind of getting extra kind of crazy, that kind of thing, and really kind of self-doubt mixed with, can I become that person? So it's really ramped up between what we saw in the last book and all of a sudden now. And, so Perrin and company get into this town of Jara, and insanity has already happened. We meet, like you said, Simeon the frog, and he's got a wolf brother.
Yeah, the frog boy has a wolf brother. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
There's this in that old movie White Christmas.
Wow. I'm genuinely excited to see what your connection is.
It just comes up. So they have this, there's a character called like Freddy something, the frog or the dog-faced boy. And he refers to him like multiple times throughout the movie. And that's all I could think of when we were talking about Simeon. It's just,
I always picture,
we meet Simeon, the frog-faced boy.
Simeon is the guy from God damn it, I can't think of the movie now. The Play It Again, Sam. Why can't I think of it?
Casablanca?
Yeah. That's how I was thinking of him as that character actor that's in that. He's in that movie and many others.
Oh, yeah. Yes. I know him more from Bugs Bunny cartoons and characterizations of him, but yes.
Oh, yeah, there it is.
Yeah. And they definitely make him look like a frog in that.
That's the same thing. So Jordan was just watching Casablanca at home and just like, well, I love that.
Tom, 10 years ago, you called him the human version of Barthane's Manor.
Feels accurate.
That's correct, yeah.
And then Jono said something about his tongue flicking, and then he said, I bet he's good at cunnilingus.
I was purposely trying to avoid a reference to him and Barthane's Manor because I'm sure we've said that before.
Oh, we did. Yeah, we did.
Okay.
You're not wrong.
So there's been
I
multiple
see
weddings.
that there's been a lifetime of weddings, Jono. A lifetime.
So, one of the questions here is like, I'd love a follow up on this for like once the ta'veren effect is gone, the lifetime effect of divorces.
Yeah, I want to see the number of weddings that stayed together.
Yeah.
Do you think Rand was like, 6 days down the road and all these newlywed couples looked at each other and went, "What the fuck? Why are we married?"
Like,
what if they did that and then a year later realized they got married because of the Dragon Reborn, and then they got divorced without realizing it, and then they're like, shit, should get remarried again.
I guess we should be remarried again because clearly the pattern wants this.
This is where Oliver was actually not Oliver. What's his name? The ugly guy who's supposed to be what everyone thought
Guidel Kane
was.
Guidel Kane.
Oh yeah, Guidel Kane. Guidel Kane was born on this night. It was ugly.
That tracks pretty well, isn't it? Like, but it's like book 4. When did they meet Brigitte?
It should be 5? End of book 4 or maybe book 5. It's gotta be 5. Yeah.
We have to follow the lives of all the kids from these broken homes that are basically like Super Bowl babies. Everyone just gets drunk and celebrates it. They're all New Year's Eve babies, and then just like 9 months later, they're like, only 50% of those are going to actually have parents.
So Simeon notices Perrin's eyes, which is interesting.
I mean,
Perrin smells madness, and he's worried it's Rand, but that's obviously not what this is, right?
No, it's a dark hound.
Yeah, because he's thinking of an evil version of a dog. That's what he's thinking of.
It's not even. Yeah, it's not even veiled. It just smells like it's pretty much what's her name at the end of Ghostbusters 1. That's what they're hiding in.
That's good. I was going to say Cujo, but Ghostbusters is way better.
Yeah.
You don't have to say Ghostbusters 1 referencing Ghostbusters.
I was going to ask you, what does that mean?
You just need to say Ghostbusters.
Well, Ghostbusters 2 is still a quality film.
Well, also Ghostbusters wasn't it just called Ghostbusters, the new one with the girls?
Yeah, thank you.
So there is 2 movies called Ghostbusters. Oh.
I know. Well, Ghostbusters 1 doesn't clear that up.
It's the first Ghostbusters.
Sure it does.
Yeah.
You could have also said Ghostbusters and then started talking about the dog things with Zool, and then just been like, obviously that's not in the new Ghostbusters, so everyone would understand the reference, Jono.
I don't know if you guys have seen Ghostbusters, starring Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray's in it, Rick Moranis. There's a marshmallow.
It's called Ghostbusters 1.
Yeah. All right.
You know what? Whenever if someone starts a new franchise, they should call it 1.
I think that's like a little too cocky.
Time Pop 1. There's going to be more.
I think you have to go back in time to rename it 1.
I've always had this idea of being like Spinal Tap-esque, and that like no matter what, like, it definitely would never be a movie because no one wants to fucking watch it. But like, you make your first album called The First, and then your second one being called eponymous, because so many bands have their first album is just being called like, Led Zeppelin's first album is just Led Zeppelin. But if you called it eponymous, brilliant. Now you're.
Have you ever seen Back to the Future 1? All right, we got to talk about the books. We're running out of time for this chapter.
I mean, all right, this is actually kind of cool. Jono, go ahead.
So I get the fact that Perrin's not as nuanced and he's kind of got other shit going on, but Perrin can't even fucking control himself to not just wait 8 seconds.
Yeah, goddamn, man.
Hey, don't ask about Rand.
Like, you traveled with Moraine and Lan for an entire book.
Yeah.
Well, granted, they were by themselves with the Queen for a little while, but still, like, the point being is, like, you know how they operate. You know that they know what's going on.
They're not going to not ask, where's the Dragon Reborn?
Yes.
Like, did you think they were...
What the fuck is wrong with it? Like,
here?
And also, how many times, like, it's also Egwene does the same fucking thing.
I was going to say, this exact thing happens in 2 chapters.
Yes, yeah. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Shut your fucking mouths.
I hope he wrote it that way on purpose. Just like, look at this country bumpkin questioning this worldly Aes Sedai. And then 2 chapters later, he's like, I don't know if I got the point across.
Look at this country bumpkin.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do love parallelism. So important in novels. Very good. Very good. Yeah. So we find out after unnecessary questioning that, hey, the white folks went insane. I would have loved to have seen that. Like one of them just in the store, like, I quit.
A bunch of them are just like, I'm not a white cloak anymore. And they're like, what? And then they all start fighting too. And then, interesting.
I think this whole town's filled with dark friends. I'm going to go look for the my penis smells. What the fuck is that?
Is parallelism an Olympic event in gymnastics?
It's parallel bars.
How do you think two beds pushed together works for Loyal? What is he doing with the crack in the middle of that bed?
It's going to have to depend upon the.
He's like, putting his dick in it. We all know he's putting his dick in it.
Just fucking the two mattresses. I'll sleep on the floor, but let me get off.
It's just like, Aaron.
I think the most important thing here was watching Tom's face on this Zoom call. Remember what parallel bars versus parallelism, and just going, oh yeah. I wish.
I gotta know.
I know what parallelism.
Saw that.
Simone Biles gold medal in parallelism at the Olympics.
She was an author. She wrote it. It's all about going to the events, having sex with 30 people, and then writing about it.
So anyway, back to Perrin.
Jesus Christ.
Back to Perrin being dumb. He asked Simeon immediately about Rand like an asshole.
Simeon away.
And then Rand, you can tell Simeon's guarded when he answers him. He's like, well, one, I think because of Perrin's eyes, obviously, because he resembles his brother, which we don't know about yet. But also because he's like, yeah, that guy, are you friends with him? Or how do you feel about him? He's like, we know him. We know of him. And they're like, oh, okay, well, he was a little crazy. Like, just, that kind of thing. Simeon asks if Moraine can heal his brother, like, right away. So that's basically what's going on here.
Yeah, Simeon takes a hard look at him in the dark, or at her in the dark, which sounds like a rapist kind of thing. But Perrin mentions the fact that like Moraine's not aware of how closely Simeon kind of like focuses in on and just.
Oh yeah.
It's only like, holy shit, her face is smooth because everyone else is a craggy old farmer hag, and so obviously
they're all newlyweds though, Jono.
Pardon?
They're all newlyweds though.
Yeah. Again,
they're all getting boned tonight, like Loyal's mattresses.
Just close your eyes. That's what it is. In the morning, they're like, wow, I was pretty fucked up last night. Like, they were just all drunk.
I missed something. Tom, 10 years ago, said that Simeon looked like Slythe from Thundercats. Which I think is kind of the greatest thing I've ever heard, but it's such a weird deep cut that no one no. Oh, well, that's not true. A lot of people will know what that means, but not everyone.
And not enough. So as you mentioned, he kind of gets the fact that Moraine's an Aes Sedai, and so Perrin goes straight over. I love like just leaving him with Loyal. This is gonna be even deep cut. Probably don't need to make the reference at all, but fuck it. It reminds me of in From Russia with Love when like the Czech dude,
Loyal with Love.
I have led a very interesting life. Loyal's just like, let me tell you about some shit you don't care about.
Yeah. Loyal takes Simeon off to like, well, show me my bedroom. Where I'm gonna fuck the mattresses later.
Yeah. All I need is to lie on the floor, but give me about 18 seconds with these. But anyway, what the static.
Do you think if Loyal looked at Simeon the right way, he might be like that monkey with the frog?
That's tWoTcast for this week.
Just quit. Jesus Christ. For context, that's the video where a monkey.
Everyone
if they
knows
don't,
the video.
If they don't know it, they don't get to know.
Yeah, so Moraine's pissed. He said anything? I'm sorry. I'm trying to move on. Moraine's pissed. He said anything at all? Basically, like, don't you fucking think I know that he was here? I knew he was here immediately. Let alone. And then she's like, I guess it helps that I know he went east, but I already knew that he's going east. Kind of thing.
We know he's going to Tyr.
Yeah.
Unless he's really bad at cartography, reading a fucking map.
I like that in this situation, Land thinks it's a bad idea to not kill this frog man.
That's my favorite part about it.
It's kind of like, how many times has Land just decided, you know what, it's better if this guy's dead? Like,
I like that. That's exactly why I like it, because it alludes to the fact that they've done that before. It's like, God damn, that is dark.
Wait for
it. Does make you wonder. It makes you wonder how much they're holding back because like Perrin and Loyal are there. Like if it was just the two of them, she would have just been like
quickly like
kill it.
Yeah, I feel like she half said no because he was in the room.
What would
like
you
she
do?
wasn't like, all right, I'm not going to order someone's death while Perrin's literally looking at me. Maybe some other time.
So you know,
Perrin leaves the room and Moraine's just like, like right before they leave.
You know, Land's always scouting up and back whenever like they go anywhere. Like he's actually spending the entire time just butchering anyone behind them. That may
also we don't see Simeon later, so like ever again.
Yeah, he's dead.
One of the few characters that doesn't come back.
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, even Noam comes back.
It's true.
Speaking of him,
they go. So they go back to Noam, and is deemed sufficient enough guarding to walk 80 feet to
it's pretty fucked up that they're keeping him in a crate.
It's a cage with a master blacksmith's lock on it.
They're trying to house train him.
Yeah.
He keeps chewing the couch up when they leave.
Yeah. That's the worst point of having a wolf boy is they pee on the floor.
Yeah. This is one of those very, like, in fairness.
Did you do this? They're shoving Noam's nose into it. Did you do it?
But again, do we want to get serious? Why not?
Sure, yeah.
Very serious fucking point though about like this more than anything else should really color how Perrin thinks of himself. Like, you know, beforehand he's always been like, I could have lost myself when I was fighting those Trollocs. Like, but you didn't. Like, there's no context for him to have done.
Yeah, we touched on that a tiny bit a million years ago, but I did want to kind of talk more about it. But like, Perrin's always been concerned that he could be lost to the wolves or like kind of like join with them or whatever. But up until this moment, why would he ever have thought that?
I think
the only interaction he's ever had was Elias, and he's fine. Yeah. I mean, he's a crazy person that lives by himself with the wolves in the wilderness, but he's a human.
But he's totally human. Yeah, I think it's just he can lapses of humanity where he's killed those white cloaks, and where he's lost himself, you know, during that fight at the beginning.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
And also, but also though, I think that there's just the fact that in his mind it's not natural.
Yeah,
so,
if you just that, I guess that's the point. You're right. No, that actually tracks.
I'm totally agreeing with you though, and that this is really his first time of being like, whoa, I could lose myself, and yet he seemed to have already been acting that way. Like in my mind, if this had happened beforehand, I would have totally understand his context for avoiding the entire fight at the beginning, which killed dozens of fucking people, including Leia. No offense, Perrin, that's on your shoulders, which are big and hefty and sexy.
Fur cover, feel necessary, but big and sexy.
Yeah. They're those dudes at the park. They like put a shirt on, Perrin, but
he's like, I'm wearing one.
Yeah,
you're not.
The Iranian sweater, as my former roommate, who was from Iran, so it's not racist.
It is true that he referred to himself in that manner.
The only people at the park that we want to put a shirt on, like for sure, are the ones that probably most need to not wear one because they're dying.
That's true.
Covered in hair.
I'm wearing a sweater under my sweater.
Take it on. I don't care.
So Noam has golden eyes and he can talk to wolves. And Moraine basically like delves him and goes like, yeah, he's gone. I love when Perrin kind of like reaches out to him though mentally.
Yeah. Oh, and he's just filled.
Yeah, it's creepy.
Thoughts.
It is. Yeah.
Which, by the way, those thoughts are more insane than a regular wolf or a human. Like, it's very like questionable. What the fuck happened here? Kind of. I
think it's in a sense to get the sense of like franticness of him being trapped in a cage. Like, I don't think he's crazy. I just think he's like,
wolves can't survive in a cage.
So I think it's just like, like, get me the fuck out of here. You know, like kind of thing, like that kind of feeling.
Yeah. We do find out, by the way, he killed a cow by biting it to death, which seems unnecessary. Like,
it feels also a little unrealistic.
Yeah,
It does seem unrealistic. Did he kill it with his long tooth?
he said no, it's not his long tooth. It's his normal teeth. The blunt, small. Like that must have just been fucking vicious to watch a man try to whittle through a fucking cow's throat.
It just took him all fucking night. Your teeth aren't sharp enough for that, buddy. What are you doing? Something's wrong.
But anyway, I do love the end of it.
Parent freeing Gnome was a really cool point, and also Simeon, I don't know, showing his true like depth as a human in general, just loyalty, whatever, just like a truly kind human being.
Yeah,
just immediately empathizes with Perrin and is like, I'll bring you your meals. You don't have to see anybody. I understand what you're getting at. I totally get it. Thank you for freeing my brother. I don't believe you're a dark friend. All in 5 seconds. Like, just,
even though there were 24 dark friends there, so 24.
Yeah, what a stand-up dude.
Time to kind of say, like, before going nuts, running away, like, and all that shit. So
what a stand-up frog.
What a stand-up frogman boy. Frog-faced boy.
Yeah, it's like when they kind of like right before they jump, kind of get a little like hunched up. Yeah.
You mean Simeon, the frog-faced boy?
Simeon on the way.
I don't think he does say, I don't think a dark friend would care if my brother died in a cage, and I thought that was pretty cool. That was a very succinct statement of like, this is why I'm trusting you. This is why I don't think you're a dark friend kind of thing.
It is a good chapter.
Yeah. I guess the gnome thing, man, but it sets up so many books of Perrin like just not accepting the wolves, and I'm just like, God damn it.
I agree. I mean, the problem is,
I love the chapter. I wish it was resolved sooner, I suppose, is what I'm getting at.
Agreed.
That's Perrin's way.
That's the problem. Like, is that like these are huge mental traumas? There's no doubt, and obviously. Mm-hmm. Having this happen in your kind of formative late teenage years is still very palpable, whatever the fuck. But it's also, holy shit, dude. Is it really literally 9 more fucking books of it? Like, because that's not a joke.
Yeah.
Well, at the time, it was only like 3.
But
I guess that's the kind of the key. You kind of assume Jordan was like, well, this plot line will be resolved by the end. And then when you keep stretching the end out,
it's like, I guess we have to make Perrin not accept his wolfness for
a long fucking time, because then he'd be a fucking superhero. And we can't have that. Wolf Dreams, chapter 9.
Well, he's got an infographic of like a lipstick case that he just keeps slowly pushing.
All right, another Perrin chapter. Perrin asks Moraine if he will become a wolf boy, and she tells him about the world of dreams. Perrin has another not wet dream, even though Lanfear is in it again. Hopper's back. Rand kills a dog.
That tracks for me pretty well.
It is funny though, the idea of him killing a dog right on the end of all these wolf chapters.
Yeah. Like the last chapter was Perrin freeing a wolf human man out into the wild, and then the next chapter ends with Perrin just being like, dead. Never that dog. You see that fucking dog? He was big. It came at me. I killed him right away. Burned him from the pattern.
Conversation with Moraine gets into what we were just talking about, basically Perrin freaking out about becoming a wolf.
Yeah,
and she doesn't
he lays in bed thinking of Gnome because he's been running through his mind all day.
Do you have like a perfect zinger for each chapter?
He literally lays in bed just thinking of Gnome running through the woods.
That's podcast
the fucking greatest way ever.
You're an incredible run. You're an incredible run right now, Joe.
Anyway, he knocks on Moraine's door. And Moraine's like, come on in, Perrin. I knew it was you because I've been expecting this conversation before this, but after today, I just knew it was going to happen.
She also mentions, by the way, some who speak to wolves do lose themselves. Again, some, not all. And he's just kind of like losing his fucking mind.
She does reveal that she doesn't know what that number means, though. And also we find out that she found out when she went to Annalise and Van Dien's place, which is interesting because she didn't know before. So she couldn't have like offered this information up to him earlier.
True.
So like all those times when she was like, interesting. Hope you're okay.
I know everything there is to know about wolves.
And making it seem like she was, like all knowing. She really wasn't, because it wasn't until later, in book 2 when she was at Van Dien's, fucking that drag car.
I knew that's what happened. We all knew that's what happened.
I mean, come on, Tom.
Yeah,
he's super sexy. He croons. She comes.
I love the fact that like she sees land.
Frank Sinatra with wings.
Land catches her fucking head and kills it. Like, oh my god!
All the drag cars are Buble.
That's why Land killed him. Did you fuck Marine?
Not good for victim culture here at all. This
oh man, he basically just wants to know what he can expect. Yeah, go ahead, Jono. Sorry, I keep cutting you off.
No, it's fine. It's more as long as we keep making very off-taste rape jokes, I'm happy. I think everyone knows as Joe spits his drink out.
We're getting back to basics.
Yeah, thank you. So anyway, Perrin, I do love the fact that he mentions like, do I have to like become a warder? And she just starts laughing, like as far as Moraine can laugh, like, no, dumb fuck.
Austin, no, I'm not. You're not going to become my warder. I already have one.
Yeah, and it's not going to work because it's inside you. So good luck and sleep tight. Literally says.
Don't let the bed bugs bite.
She said, like, hey, dreams are very, very bad, but have a good night.
Yeah, I think that's the key, the takeaway from what she told him. I mean, like, she didn't really have a lot to offer him, but one of the things was she was like, they live in 2 worlds, like the real world and the dream world. He's like, oh, world of dreams? That's ridiculous. I'm like, you've already been experiencing weird dreams for like a year. Is that weird?
Literally 5 seconds later, he's like...
And then he's in the wolf dream like 5 minutes later. Yeah. It's like, come on, man.
Yeah, it happens in a dream that's... Other than Hopper's return, what happens in the dream that's like...
So I've got... It's, again, for the most part...
Lanfear goes into the Phantom Zone.
Lanfear goes what?
I said Lanfear goes into the Phantom Zone. It's not. It's fine. It's nothing. Dumb joke. No, it's in Superman. They put somebody in the Phantom Zone. It turns flat, and then they spin away through space, and it looks. That's what it kind of looks like when she like folds away from him, kind of thing in the dream world.
But it's just more like him like peeping in on the Forsaken, right? But
yeah. There's that
really
weird
Hopper coming back.
Unintentionally, yeah. So I don't really understand this dream because like there's some dude who gets skinned, literally skinned from something.
I think it's kind of like a really, really early reference to how people having a normal dream will pop into.
I agree with you.
Like an actual dream world thing, and then. Unfortunately, I think Lanfear was nearby, and she had set traps, and something fucked him up.
It could be.
Is that the first time we saw that?
Or is it something more there to it? Like it's like Matt and Stepaneos or something. Like is it like something like that, where like someone's fucking with his brain and Lanfear's fucking with his brain or something, and then Perrin just like walks up and goes, "Hey, what's going on?" Like is it something like that? Is it a noble we should know? I don't know.
The context seems like it's a noble we should know, but I can't think of anything further that, someone like we wake up and this guy's skin is gone. And so there's 2 other things that bother me. He walks in on land.
Because Perrin washes his blood off his body. So clearly he actually died.
Like, Perrin should not be able to wash his blood off his body. Like Perrin should be able to wash his own blood.
Unless he was there physically.
But I mean, it's not like
he does a lot by accident.
But also, like when he walks in and sees Lanfear, she's like, "You could ruin everything." We don't. I don't know where she is. Like as far as like my first thought is like it's got white kind of like ivory and all that kind of thing. Like so, I was like, well, would this be like what place have we seen or do we see later that kind of has this context? And I can't think of really anything.
It could be her own creation.
Yeah, I always just assumed it was of her own creation. But what is she reading?
I think she wants him out of there because she's still kind of plotting to have Rand on her side.
It could be.
By the way, we should literally just stop talking about this right now because we crushed this out 10 years ago. We thought she might be reading something like Ishmael's journal, and then Jono proceeded to read a fake journal entry for 3 minutes while Tom sung the Doogie Howser music. And it was basically the greatest thing we've ever done. And I don't think we need to keep talking about it.
I don't remember that at all.
So, anyway, go back in time and listen to that.
Yeah,
you want to get to
it was
Rand?
amazing.
So, Perrin wakes up, and I'll be honest, Perrin is kind of a dick here. His response is, I'm covered in blood, Simeon can burn it. So Simeon earlier brought him food because...
Yeah, he's his manservant now.
Yeah.
Oh, Hopper does attack him to shock him out of the dream, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. You actually had a real point about Hopper.
Yeah, no, continue.
No,
that's a good...
Brought food up.
Johnny, your point's good.
Yeah, Perrin didn't eat it.
Friend to slave.
Yeah, he's just turned into a fucking frog boy for him. Like, this is very...
Yeah, that's fine. That's what you do with lessers, Jono.
No wonder Land kills him, because he doesn't want anyone to know how dick
I mean, if you think about it, Perrin's like a light eyes. And Noam is...
Isn't that what Buttercup calls Wesley at the beginning of Princess Bride? And she's like, Frog Boy.
Frog Boy, come over here, Frog Boy. Burn these bloody clothes, Frog Boy. Don't question where they came from.
Yeah, I feel like that's a big ask from like, hey, I helped your brother, although I didn't really do very much besides let him out, to, can you burn these bloody clothes that look like... It's a big jump, right?
It is like, hey, can you? I'm a little nervous. I have the same affliction as your brother. Could you like maybe keep me hidden and bring me some meals? Oh yeah, super cool. All right, great, thanks. Also, on that note, I'm going to cover myself in blood in the middle of the night, and I'm going to need you to burn these clothes.
Especially just like the night before, like they say you're a dark friend and you're evil, but I don't think so. Thanks, man. Here's some bloody clothes to burn. Like, why should we?
Can you get rid of this evidence for me? It's not. I didn't do anything.
He sent his mentally ill brother off to run wild in the woods naked, and then asked him to cover up a murder.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Guys, and yet he doesn't believe that there's a dream world. He got coated in blood in a dream, and then he woke up covered in blood, and he doesn't think there's a dream world. That's ridiculous.
I want another half hour of this chapter now that I think about
it. Anything with Rand and the dog.
I wrote Rand stalks a dog in the night. And then I wrote he balefires it.
It is, as Tom mentioned, it's a wonderful juxtaposition of like, let's be careful of the wolf folk.
I think that's the best note about it. It is interesting, him grasping for the power, and he's like, it worked this time. And then also like the power fades from him really slowly. Like he can't just let it go like quickly. Like it is interesting for that little tidbit, but like most of it's just like, okay, all right.
Well,
it's just funny. He slams one dog and then he's like nailed it, and then it's like, oh shit, there's 10 more.
Oh god damn it, there's more of them.
Well, there's
I do like how his two weapons of choice are like, I can do erratic things with the power, or just burn shit from the power from the pattern. Like there's no middle ground at all. It's not like I'm not like he's just like making the earth erupt or doing something. It's just like, it's either I can barely do anything, or I can just incinerate it from existence.
If the three of us
actually just destroy time.
Yeah.
The three of us are walking down the street and we see a pit bull like 2 blocks away running at us, and it's like ready to kill us. And you're like, what do you got? And I was like, well, I got a butter knife or a nuclear bomb.
The nuke, for sure, the
nuke. Wait, the butter knife's not going to work.
Definitely not. We don't have butter, Tom. We don't have butter.
The butter knife's not going to work.
Is the dog made of butter? You fucking idiot. Obviously the nuclear bomb.
Obviously. God.
It's also like kind of adds some interesting and kind of sad points too, that like the original Darkhounds were made from corrupted wolves. So considering we're just looking at wolves and the continuation of Hopper's soul, and then Rand's just like, you're done.
Well, I mean, I think even the wolves would be like, hey, good job. You know,
they
get rid of that
will.
fucking abomination.
No one else will.
It's hilarious to think about, but I mean, like, even if from a wolf's perspective, I bet they'd be like, oh, fuck that guy. He was turned by the Dark One. We hate all of them.
Yeah. Probably good for them.
Yeah, Chapter 10 is called Secrets, Tom.
Chapter 10 is called Secrets. All right. This is a Gween. Is it a Gween point of view?
It's a Wolfgar and a Gween point of view, yeah.
Wolfgar. All right. I've got the Wonder Girls blow up some white cloaks outside the tower. Matt has the sniffles.
Matt what?
Has the sniffles. He's sick.
I thought you said Matt holds his nipples, and I was like, I've got to go look through my notes on that one. I think I would have caught that.
The Wonder Girls blow up some white cloaks outside of the tower. Matt has the coronavirus.
Yeah, stay away. Could be very bad. So this is one of those chapters where, like, you know, when we've looked back at it in context of PTSD and shit like that, like, you kind of give, just like when we talked about the end of book 2, like, you give a little more credence to the understanding of what the fuck Egwene is doing, because, you know, she's mentally damaged by it.
Yeah, but, for sure. Yeah.
I never have a problem with what, like, her physical actions attacking people. It's her constantly opening her mouth when Baron tells her not to that drives me insane.
But also on top of that, Nynaeve and Elaine just joining in. Like if Egwene does it and you're just like, holy shit, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
It'd be fine if like Nynaeve and Elaine were like, whoa, power down, bro. Like, we don't need to be doing that right now, kind of thing. And then, but they're just like, oh, she's blowing shit up. Let's blow shit up. You're like, calm down, everyone. Jesus.
I think the first time I read it, I was on their side a little bit too, like, just because I'm like, all right, they're super worried about Matt, and so am I.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
So, you know, we start off, obviously, you know, they're coming from the West. She's in full, like, she even's already kind of primed about, like, I won't be collared again, even before then, about just kind of where they're coming from.
Yeah.
And she's been dreaming of Rand and also getting a little warm because she's been thinking about Galad's cock. So maybe that explains a little bit, kind of, you know.
Hey, I want us to try to pay attention. I'm sorry, John. I want to talk about that word real quick. I want us to pay attention to that. I have this, like, when I did my last reread, because I finished a reread really shortly before, I think I was like wrapping up the last book, like right when we were starting the Eye of the World last year.
Yeah.
I kind of noticed that there's this one time, and it's like way later from now, but like there's this one event where Egwene does not like Gawain. Like, that's not really a thing. And I think he kind of tells her about his feelings and she's sort of aware of it, but she goes near his dream in like the dream world when she doesn't really know what she's doing and she's not supposed to be doing it at all. And she does it anyway. And then she gets like sucked in his dream. And in that dream, like, he's like, oh, Egwene, you're here. I love you. And he's like making out with her and stuff. And then like the dream kind of like folds away and like clearly they fuck. And Egwene probably wakes up like, hell yeah, that was a good dream. But Egwene like wakes up after that. And like from that point forward is when she's like actually in love with Gawain. And I'm like, did that dream fuck her brain? I think her brain got fucked up because she never mentions Gawain before that. It's like nonstop Galad is hot, like all the time. And then like they're always like, be careful, don't get sucked into someone's dreams. They can like fuck with your brain. I'm like, I really think like I really want to like keep track of every time she doesn't mention Gawain and mentions Galad, because it's like I'm pretty sure she doesn't actually love Gawain. Like, I think he fucked her brain up because she went into his dream.
Technically,
we'll track that.
Yeah, let's try to track that. That's all I'm saying.
All right, I'm more than happy with that, especially considering what the fuck he turns into later. Like, I don't hate him at first.
Yes, because that would because everyone's like, I can't believe Gawain likes that guy, and I'm like, I don't think she does. I think she's fucked up. Anyway.
So Egwene, by the way, there's clearly like her mental state, I think, is actually kind of like, it may not be intentional from Jordan, but like she already kind of seemed a little like still on edge. And again, we get that now. But then second, she takes a snipe at Nynaeve for really no reason. Like Nynaeve, like, what are you looking for, kind of thing. And she's like, oh, better. I hope someone's taking care of Lance's dick, right? And she's like, what the fuck? Like, there's a real quick.
Well, Nynaeve says some like asinine thing. Well, not asinine at all. I don't even know why I said that. She mentioned, because Egwene's like sitting up in her stirrups to like see further, and she's like, would you sit the fuck down? Like, what are you trying to get shot by an arrow, basically? Like, that's all she says. Like, she basically is like, what are you doing? Sit down.
Question of concern.
Yeah.
I bet someone's fucking your guy. Oh, all right. Well, that's
yeah.
That's a good
I wrote my only note on that was Nynaeve and Egwene begin their bickering for the rest of the book.
And that's where I'm
so yeah.
It's like, hey Tom, what's Lindsay? I don't know. It's probably fucking someone, right? Like, whoa, Jesus Christ. By the way, Tom, you know what she's probably doing? Nothing, because it's 8:36.
Yeah, I know what's going on.
fucking someone.
Yeah.
Anyway, so one of the things that I found kind of interesting on a reread is what is the value of Nynaeve listening to the wind talent? Like, because all it says is some shit's going down. To which
it's like a weird foretelling,
but it's not useful. Like with a foretelling,
it's
like,
not.
hey, Mom's dick's gonna come. Like, all right, God, jeez, go watch out for that. Like, but with this, it's just like there's a storm coming. Yeah, this is about to be the last battle. Like, there's literally nothing useful that ever happened.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I think obviously it works on smaller events, like what they're about to get.
I don't know. This is not what Nynaeve was not feeling what's about to happen here.
You don't think so?
I don't
know.
Is it the greater feeling of like the whole book that she's in, or the greater feeling of the entire book series?
Yeah, I don't think that the feeling she's feeling here is referencing their little fight with the White Cloaks.
Especially considering in the grand scheme of things, all that happens is 4,000 of these in a row, over and over and over, and she doesn't feel a win.
I don't know. I feel like she has like a slight Spidey sense kind of thing.
Could be.
And it's more like temporary. And it's more like immediate, like kind of hearing, being able to smell the violence on the hoof tracks clearly, or he sees the hoof tracks. Yeah.
So it changes everything.
Also, it seems slightly different in that here, we find out that, like, you know, and I assume there's a rational reason that he smelled violence of previous actions, because here I told him to leave town, and each time was like these people threatened him. So I assumed that it wasn't because he smelled the potential of violence, but
he smelled Pat. Yeah.
But it's funny though, because like even though here
it could just be the symbol, like these are violent people, like they smell like violence, like there's more danger staying with these people, or like in
the point is, like, Egwene is not aware of his talent really, other than like he seems to have a premonition versus like this dude smells violence because he doesn't really understand it. And so it's kind of just funny that he'd be okay with like him, like, you know, hope you guys know I've got a premonition versus what actually is happening. It just seems weird.
I do like how they mention how Huron, like, Matt's passed out on a litter, he's getting worse, and like they're like, well, Huron was kind of fine, but like when he could still talk to Matt. But as soon as Matt passed out and hasn't been awake, Huron's been getting more and more like, I need to get the fuck away from these people. Which
he can't talk to 4 Aes Sedai.
Yeah, I know. That's what I thought. I know, and he's been more and more uncomfortable. And they're like, I don't understand why he's not uncomfortable. Why he's so uncomfortable? I'm like, you don't understand why he's uncomfortable. Anyway,
listen to yourselves. All you're doing is talking about, like, you know, being collared, attacking shit. Yeah, whatever.
So Nynaeve tried to heal Matt in secret, and Elaine and Egwene think she's dumb for doing that.
Yeah.
But I would argue she isn't.
I would argue that if she would have tried like 5 more times, it'd probably be fixed already.
I don't know. Like, I know it seems dumb for her to like do that, but she even herself goes like, I've been healing people since before I knew what I was doing, you know, like, kind of thing. And I was like, yeah, that doesn't make it better.
Well, there's also, she's never healed someone wrong, right? She's never done the weave wrong. It's either it doesn't work or it works. Like, there's no middle ground.
Yeah, there's never been any horrible consequence. Well, that we know of. Yeah. I feel like we'd know about it if there was.
Yeah,
but
people behind her and evidence.
Anyway, White Cloaks.
She's not using channeling. She's like, yeah, blow them up.
They charge, but not really. They spread out in an arc. Varen says, let her talk and no one else talk. And then I'm going to repeat myself from 10 years ago, but I'm going to paraphrase. Elaine's a dumb bint, and she gives them a reason to detain them, which is exactly the opposite of what they want right now.
I 100% agree, but like also even before this, they've kind of worked themselves into a tizzy because it seems like they're starting to talk about like, well, it seems ominous, that kind of thing. They're like, do we even, maybe we should go, that kind of thing. They've gotten themselves already worked up, like maybe we fight. And it seems like if it weren't for Matt, they would have already stopped coming to the White Tower to a certain extent and let.
I don't know. No, I don't think so. Egwene basically, I mean, she literally says like,
this is
in her
home.
Thoughts. Yeah. Well, not that this is my home, but like, I can't wait to get back here. It's the only place I can learn what I want to learn because I want to learn, you know, kind of thing. Like, so I think she would have at least. I don't know about Nynaeve.
Maybe not.
Could have learned a lot more.
They're already so on edge though about like if anyone is approaching, should we go scout? Like, what about this? And like again, what the fuck were they like? First off, for the last 1,000 miles,
very annoying. Varen's been
you're right there,
very annoyed the whole time,
miles away, and then you like all of a sudden they see something and it's time to fucking explode. Like it's just time to do it. And like you said, a couple dozen white cloaks appear, and Varen is just kind of calm, collected. And then our good friend, the golden-haired Bent, announces her name.
Yeah, god damn it, what an idiot. Anyway, I don't want to talk about how stupid she is, but she's stupid.
Yeah.
They all start saying
we can do that for
something. Like Egwene's like, this is where we
just came from far.
He's like, she's like, sorry, we've been traveling really far. We came from this place. And he's like, you came from there?
Yeah.
It's like, so sorry I attacked you, good sir.
Egwene blows up the ground, topples
the earth
horses,
underneath your feet.
Neem and Elaine help her.
I'm just really tired.
Varen is furious.
And it's also...
That's the equivalent... Like, instead of somebody getting my order wrong at a restaurant and me, like, snapping and being an asshole and then apologizing later, like, them getting it wrong and me, like, shooting a gun at them 5 times and be like, shit, my bad.
Yeah,
also, this is interesting to note. 10 years ago, I accidentally coined the phrase bonehold. And that's where this comes from. and then we went on to say, Dana's my right hand, Bonehold's my left, and we just kept going on and on about it jerking off. It was interesting. But that's where Bonehold comes from, apparently.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so Bonehold's still there, and he said Byre told him that his father died.
By now, apparently. That kind of gives some context. It took Byre, like he got there from Amador all the way to Tar-Valon.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Or are we wrong? He
Varen
actually did go to Tar-Valon first.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, Tom, we found out that they did not, because that's what we found in the prologue. He came first to Amador and then to Tar-Valon, even though at the end of book 2 he was told to do the opposite.
He could have been traveling really quickly. Varen does say that they have been moving slowly because of Matt's litter and whatnot. So it's entirely possible that he stopped there and went north before. He also left way before them.
Yeah, there's that too. Yeah. He left before the fight, by the way, that pussy.
Anyway, Egwene mentions Stoneman Bonehold loses it. My father died there. And then I wrote, all Elaine is concerned is her mother.
Yeah.
Because she's like, what do you think he meant about my mom? And I'm like, who the fuck cares?
It's an important question. It is a whole fucking nation. Like, I don't blame her for that. Although I do blame her.
That's not why she's asking, though.
It is.
She's full of herself.
She's giving outsized, in fairness, it's correct in this case, but outsized importance to what a white cloak is saying, though, which seems stupid. Like someone who's, maybe your mom doesn't like that. You're saying, like,
yeah.
Shit.
Yeah. Also, again, it's triply stupid from them to have just, and they probably don't understand the context. No Aes Sedai has attacked anyone for years because they can't, which is also doubly ironic considering that Varen's the one telling them this. Don't fucking do that, considering she's black. But no Aes Sedai has done anything.
She's black as Ja.
Yeah, it sounds a little less racist. No Aes Sedai has done that, and then the Seanchan
feels weird that a black Aes Sedai is talking about no violence. You know what I mean?
Yeah, weird, right? But,
wait, I do. Wait, do I understand what you mean? I mean, I understand it both ways.
The Seanchan just fucking left and did that, and that didn't happen. Those weren't Aes Sedai, and then these fucking novices go ahead and do it themselves. Like, you know what? Believe anything.
That's the thing. It's like not only are they doing the Earth is they're doing Seanchan tactics. So if the rumor spreads that Aes Sedai helped Seanchan soldiers,
and
it wasn't like them like being collared and whatnot, and then that spreads, and then this person who is high up in the white cloaks sees them do it, and it's just going to be like, it's true. The Aes Sedai are on their side. They hurt people all the time. Like, it's all fucking bullshit.
It's no longer a garbled rumor from, like a war-torn area. It literally happened right fucking here.
Yeah. Anyway, they reached Tar-Valon.
Oh, shit.
Now the true danger begins, Varen says.
So, Tom, before you start, do we want to talk about the most important thing in the entire series, which is the map of Vagina?
Well, hold on. Let me give you my recap. I put something in here just for you, Jono.
Chapter 11 is called Tar-Valon, Tom, just so you know.
All right. I put they enter Tar-Valon, Vagina map, Huron leaves, grounded.
It's like some girls learning about their bodies during puberty.
They cross into North Harbor.
Later on, when they get a little older, North Harbor. But for now, it's mostly North Harbor.
Yeah, for now, it's North Harbor.
They stay on North Harbor for a little while.
Yeah.
They go back and forth.
Then they work their way down.
Back and forth.
Kind of going around in circles sometimes, then switching it up.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I mean, you got to exercise the horses. So sometimes they just take them out of the city, start going around in circles.
Yeah.
Even when they leave North Harbor, they still come back to it sometimes.
Doing the alphabet around North Harbor.
Probably not as often as they should.
Doing the alphabet around North Harbor. Anyway, they reach a bridge village. A guardsman stops them for news. And Varen's like, we were on the road anyway, so what's going on here? And then they're like, what about Matt? And she's like, I haven't forgotten about him.
Yeah. What was the last time I spoke without need? Oh, you started a fight.
They can't stop telling everybody where they came from in this second.
Seriously.
That's
it's like,
over.
motherfucker, what are you doing? Perrin's annoying me and continues to annoy me a little bit with like the way he's being dumb with Moraine, but like, man, it's like all three of them just won't shut your fucking mouth.
Shut your fucking mouth. I think there's context for Elaine, or not for Elaine, definitely not for Elaine, for Egwene to do it. Like she's been emotionally abused, that kind of thing. But Elaine should be someone of all people who knows the value of her name and the value of not using her name from earlier.
Agreed. Yeah.
Is someone who's in her early 20s.
And also just like understanding like Deus de Mar and court politics and like kind of getting what like Varen, she should just immediately get what Varen's saying and be like, oh, the Aes Sedai telling me to shut the fuck up. I should probably shut the fuck up.
Yeah. What
like,
the point?
What the fuck? Like, where is that coming from? Selfishness and stupidity. That's what I would say.
Stupid.
She's stupid.
Yeah, and this does, by the way, remind me. This whole town reminds me of, and I'm pretty sure I said it last time, of Monty Python, the Holy Grail, with the castle built in the swamp, because this town just keeps getting burnt down. You
did not say that again before, by the way, so continue.
Oh, yeah. So it's just like the fourth time it stayed up until the next battle that is going to come when the next Aes Sedai insurrection happens. It's just like, why would you build here? Well, there's money until there's not. It just gets fucking just destroyed over and over.
I mean, it was the Trolloc Wars when it burned down before, right?
It was the Trolloc Wars, Archer Hawkwing's War of and then probably again during the War of 100 Years would be my guess.
What about the Aiel thing?
Yes, So,
you would assume so.
Yeah, the fifth
That's
time,
what they call it, by the way, the Aiel thing. I don't know if you guys knew that. That's the historical reference for that fight.
I was going to unnecessary question about why it is the White Cloaks appear to be on both sides of the river, considering that the bridges are all controlled by the tower, but it's not really worth it.
Well, there's other ways to cross a river, right?
I mean, there's ferries.
Inner tube.
Yeah, inner tubes, jet skis.
Yeah, obviously jet ski, Joe. I can cross a river on a jet ski in 5 seconds.
That's good.
Stupid.
All right.
I mean,
houseboat, riverboat,
yeah,
junker,
it's not that
trawler,
weird.
tugboat.
Also, if you're a tactical force trying to surround a city, I mean, yeah, you want to be on both sides, obviously.
So here's a question: have you guys watched
So you jet ski across?
Nicolas Cage's History of Swear Words on Netflix yet?
No,
I haven't.
Yeah, it's not as good as I want, but it's still pretty entertaining. One of the swear words, though, is pussy. And they actually get into a little bit of Tar-Valon history.
Oh, really?
I don't
No.
know where you're going with this, but let's hear it.
we're going nowhere because neither of you guys have seen it. So
I wrote, why the fuck does a Gleam still get jealous over Rand? They broke up.
Because
they broke up.
And then I wrote, I don't want you fucking my ex. Is it that kind of thing?
I mean, you still get a little jealous about somebody you broke up with. That's what I read. Yeah, is it something like that? Is it like she's like, I'm sure Min's keeping him warm, that bent, and you're like, shut up, shut your mouth about Min.
I mean, the answer is yes.
Wait, they didn't break up.
They broke up many times in book 2, like multiple times.
They break up.
He came into the room and saw Min with him and went, "It's okay. We kind of broke up in the beginning of the book."
They don't officially break up until book 4.
Were they ever officially together?
That's another thing. They are officially together
in an arranged way. She doesn't. In book 4, she comes in. She's like, "Look, we're breaking up, and also you should fuck her." Which is a weird.
This down.
Which I actually wish I would have been broken up with that way every time it's ever happened to me in my entire life.
All you can think about is, what am I?
Hey, listen, we're broken up. However, you should fuck her, and she's willing. I've talked to her already. We're friends.
Look, yeah. Hey, look.
Taking out like months of
my dad owns an inn in a small village, and we're breaking up. But look over there, that's a rich princess with a sweet pussy. Yeah, date her.
So Varen brings them into the city.
So I think Tom. Let's go back with Tom's point.
No, just focus up.
Roger that.
Varen brings them to the city, hands them off to Sheriam, and then for the 1,000th time says, "And don't let them talk to anyone." But really, she's talking to them like, "Shut your fucking mouths! I've told you 17 times. I just want to say it again out loud, even though you know I'm not talking to Sheriam. I'm going to pretend like I'm talking to Sharon, but really I'm talking to you. Shut your fucking mouths."
It's incredible that she can't get them to shut the fuck up. And then she puts, basically, they eventually end up in the charge of 3 accepted. And then sort of like, we should be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, because if we're not, we'll have to scrub pots.
I thought it would have taken the whole journey.
Like Phelan's trying her best. Like, I guess later on, so never mind. But like, I do love the fact that she's just like, "Where were you?" No, you're not supposed to say. You're not supposed to say because you're stupid. They just don't fucking get it.
I guess I died on my one-liner. So
I scrolled through like too quickly. Like it's Phelan Theodrin. Did they name the third girl that's watching them?
Oh, it's they don't, not yet. I think she's named in the next week. And it is an interesting kind of combination that those two are together, considering what they do later. It's lesbian sex. No, but they're so important for.
They do that now too.
Yeah, of course. That's why do you think?
Well, they're in the they're at Saladar later, right?
Yeah. Tossing Saladar is what we were talking about.
Yeah, Tossing Saladar. I know what you're talking about.
But such a bitch, and it's nice.
I mean, I think that's tWoTcast for this week, Tom.
I was going to say that would have been pretty good.
Yeah, the Tossing Saladar. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm not smart enough to finish my own jokes. So that's tWoTcast this week. If you have any comments or questions, the best way to find us is on Twitter at tWoTcast.
It's my favorite. Listen wherever you get your podcast. And you can email us at tWoTcast@gmail.com.
tWoTcast theme songs brought to you by Taffy Bennington at Sing with Taffy on Twitter and Anarchy101 on YouTube, and also everyone's favorite musician on #Twitter of Time, Androl. And that's at Androl Genhold on Twitter and Androl Bard of Time on YouTube.
Yeah, we're on Patreon consistently, as we have always been. You always get your money worth with tWoTcast at patreon.com/tWoTcast. If you enjoy the show, help us out and give us some of your money or all your money and enjoy exclusive content only on Patreon weekly without fail.
Thank you. Thank you to the fact that Margaret Wise has been on this show not once but twice, and that's kind of the most ridiculous thing that probably has happened to the show other than existing for 10 and a half years, 11 years. What time is it?
I don't know. I don't know. I lost track.
But
we're into the 11th year.
Yeah, Margaret Wise is one of those people that we've we've mentioned it before, but we all have read, we all would love to read more from. And the fact is that she's been on this show twice, is probably the single dumbest thing that's happened in the world. And we're so appreciative of it.
I would have never read The Wheel of Time without Margaret Wise.
I would not have either.
Absolutely. Like 100% not.
Yeah.
Tom had to force me to stop reading every Dragonlance book that existed to get me to read The Wheel of Time.
Well, don't tell Margaret that. But anyway, I'm Jono. You listen to Joe.
Keep the change, you filthy animals. You need to say join us next week, dummy.
Join us next week for The Wheel of Time, Book 3, Dragon Reborn, Part 4, covering chapters 12 through 17. If you notice, I will skip half the shit I'm supposed to read. I'm Jono. You listen to Joe.
Keep the change, you filthy animals.
Tom.
Study your math.
What's the next line?
It's say goodnight, Jono.
Good night, Jono. Thanks, Joe. I'd never get it without you. First part is best.
Among the first to start, the tWoTcast was so smart to lovingly bash our favorite books. But that was long ago, and now they've grown the show, and now they got us in their hooks. Don't throw coins to these bastards, they need bars of gold at least. Someone please keep them afloat. Now let's listen as they once again ramble through a book. Let's get the fucking quote. One of them is Tom, but he is barely on. Sometimes he calls into the show. Another one is Jono. Is he their joker? Oh no. And Joe, is he the stupid one? Welcome to the tWoTcast. We will share our love for books and all our hate in every episode. We'll entertain you, make you laugh so hard you barely can stand up. That is the tWoTcast code.